Hello, Dog Pound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill, and as you can see, I made it back to Nashville from north central Pennsylvania. Yes, I know, I was in Pennsylvania. I can't help it. That's where my parents were born. That's where my family is originally from, and it is gorgeous up there. I like it. It's in the middle of nowhere. Nature comes a calling, and I can get and read books and sit on the front porch and just breathe some fresh air and relax. Because every Browns fan needs to relax before game one. Who's getting anxious? I'm thinking about it already. I know as the week goes on, I'll think about it more and more and more. And then by the time we get to Sunday morning, about this time, when the pregame show's on for the early games, I'll start to pace around the house. I'll drive my wife crazy. She'll go, sit down. And I go, I can't. Because it'll be week one. All right. So a lot of stuff has happened since last time I talked to you lovely people. First of all, Deshaun Watson got his contract restructured again. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I am not going to quibble with Andrew Berry, the Ninja GM, as I call him. Basically, they just converted $14.8 million into signing bonuses, saved them $35.8 million on the cap. They now have the most cap room in the NFL at 51.3. They added another void year, which is understandable. You got to spread out those restructure bonuses. So Deshaun's cap hit for 2024 is $27.9 million, which is only 9.6% of the total payroll. Now, for those of you who think, oh my God, we're in cap hell, dead money. Right now, the Browns have $18.7 million in dead money, which is 26th in the league. The two most prominent are the safety, John Jones, $8.85 million, and of course, Clowney at $4.8 million. They signed him to 1-year deals, but they spread it out with void years, so it probably won't be the last year that he's on there. I think John Johnson, this is his last go around on the dead money carousel. And of course, in 25 and 26 for Deshaun Watson, he's still supposed to make $72.9 million, which they will more than likely restructure again and again. They can push it out as far as 2030, because right now 2027 and 2028 are both void years, like I said, to spread out the bonuses, the restructures. His salary again this year is going to be $1.2 million. And it's not because he's going to get suspended. God, that guy made a huge mistake when he did that. All right, so they've got $51.3 million. I'm not going to talk about the free agents in 2025 because, frankly, I don't want to talk about that crap before the first kickoff. I'll worry. Let Andrew Berry worry about that. He's good at his job. Other news in Cleveland, the stadium issue is again being is ridiculous. You have Cleveland politicians who think that their political careers are more important than the Browns playing in a brand new stadium. The whole Burke Airport thing is not an option. It's not a serious option. First of all, you got to get approval from the FAA to demolish it. You've got to make adjustments to other airports nearby to handle any traffic that Burke still has. And you have to demolish it. That'll take a decade. Okay? We're looking at 2033, 34 before they can even start to build a stadium. How is that feasible? It isn't. If you live in Cleveland, call your local politician, tell them blank or get off the pot. Jimmy Haslam's going to put Jimmy World in Brook Park. Get over it. Suck it up. Let Jimmy Haslam help you redevelop the lakefront, which he will gladly do because he's going to get some money back from it. It's not about what you do for the community. It's about what you do for the community and how you can make a little extra money. And that's what Jimmy Haslam is good at. I should know. He is from Tennessee, huge UT supporter. I mean, come on. Just get out of the way and let this happen. I think he's already pledged $2.8 billion for this whole process. Just get out of the way. So we had a interesting 53-man roster cut down, 4 quarterbacks. They tried to trade Tyler Huntley, but nobody would take him. And then I have heard that some people were sniffing around Foreman because he was a veteran. He wasn't subject to the waiver wire, and other teams were interested in him. And to keep him, they went ahead and cut Huntley and put Foreman back on the roster, which is smart. Had to do that. Had to. With the injury to Nick Chubb, he's on the PUP list, like I've been telling you. I mean, then we found out that his incentives are for 12 games and not 17. Gee, Andrew Berry, smart guy. So there's one space open on the practice squad, which is intriguing. I'm wondering what Andrew Berry will do. And also the practice squad, bottom of the roster, it will still be in flux before and after game 1. Contracts aren't guaranteed prior to game 1. In other words, you play in game 1, your contract, you don't get paid until after game 1. So after game 1, they can mess with the bottom of the roster a little bit more, mess with the practice squad. I wasn't really shocked by a lot of things on the practice squad, except for the 4 quarterbacks. I kind of revised my thinking on the 3 because they don't want to lose DTR because he had a great preseason. And like I've said, and I know this is annoying, 58 different starting quarterbacks in 2023, a league record. So quarterbacks are at a premium. I kind of figured they'd keep 2 tight ends. I said that. 10 offensive linemen. I said that. The Mike Hall commissioner's exempt list. I wasn't sure if he'd really do it, and he did. And that'll have to play out in the courts to see what happens in his next court date. The accuser's stories have changed a little bit, so it's going to be interesting. But this is not a situation to be taken lightly. The gentleman, Michael Hall, needs to get help. No matter how this turns out, no matter what the accuser says, I think he needs to get a little help. So there's still a space open on the practice squad. I'm kind of curious of what Andrew Berry's going to do. And speaking of Nick Chubb and the PUP list, got to sit out for 4 games, which makes him eligible to come back week 5 at Washington. I don't see that happening. I really don't. Even week 6 at Philly, I don't see that happening as well. I see, and I've maintained this, week 7, October 20th. They start a 3-game homestand before the bye. Cincinnati, Baltimore, Chargers. I can see him coming back week 7. That'll give him a couple weeks practice, and then you start a big homestand. Man, if he comes back for that Bengals game in week 7, that stadium will explode. And I think that's the perfect time. You got 3 opponents that you can beat at home going into the bye week. That would be a nice little 3-game win streak going into the bye week. But I don't do predictions. I know everybody wants me to do predictions. I think it's bad juju, bad karma. I don't do it. Let's take a break. So, like I said, that is my thinking. I think they can maintain it. The interesting player yet is Naheem Hines. He's still not activated off the PUP list. I think what they'll do is for punt returner, kick returners, they'll bring up either Darden, who they put on the practice squad, and Prochet, who they also put on the practice squad. They can call them up 3 times each. So I think you're going to see Cedric Tillman back there on kickoffs too, which would be great. I love that kid. Good pickup. I know I'm a Vanderbilt fan. He went to UT. I don't care. If you go to the Browns and help them win, I don't care where you went to school. All right. So I just got done watching the new episode of Unleashed, which features Deshaun Watson and his process during training camp. I recommend it to all out-of-town Browns fans. It's wonderful to watch. It's very excellently done. I mean, their production crew is fantastic. They are. They do a great job. And it's good to see, it just, for me as an out-of-town Browns fan, I just love watching it. It's like I'm looking at them in local news. I'm not getting the Titans crap every night. And I'll get it every night this week until they go to Chicago and play the Bears. How great they're going to be, which remains to be seen. So college football got underway yesterday. I watched 2 games, primarily the Ohio State. I thought Will Howard did well. He did a little better than I thought. Jeremiah Smith, the freshman wide receiver, man, that kid's good. God bless you, Brian Hartline. I think the offensive line needs to work a little bit better. I was glad to see Ryan Day keep them into the 4th quarter. They need to gel. Tackle position still a little shaky. The transfer center I thought did very well, considering. But like I said, the running game will come around. I don't know why the Akron coach kept his quarterback in, Finley, in the 3rd quarter. I mean, what do you got to do? Next thing I thought I'd see a next series that they wheel him out on a gurney and stand him up. Kid was just taking an abuse. Oh my God, he was abused. Gary Danielson put it best when the other commentator said, well, he's wearing a flak jacket. And Gary Danielson says, well, a flak jacket could stop a bullet, but obviously not a defensive lineman. Oh, my God. He had to have broken ribs. He could have punctured a lung. I'm serious. That kid could have seriously got hurt. And it reminded me of Baker Mayfield being trotted out his last year with the Browns. Sometimes you got to put your foot down and say no. And thank God they did, because that kid couldn't move. But the other game I watched, as I've mentioned, I am a graduate of Vanderbilt University, class of 82, anchor down, and that was a fun game to watch. For those of you who don't know about Vanderbilt football, they've had little peaks and valleys over the years. Right after I graduated, they went to a bowl game. They had a really good team then. Then when James Franklin, the Penn State coach, was here, they had excellent teams. Bobby Johnson, he took them to a bowl game here in Nashville, beat Boston College, and Matty Ice was the Boston College quarterback. But Clark Lee, their head coach, former Vanderbilt player, they've been struggling, but they lost a ton of players. They lost their entire quarterback room. But they finished number 8 in the rankings of transfer players coming in. And they got this kid from New Mexico State named Diego Pavia. And Diego Pavia last year with New Mexico State went to Auburn and beat Auburn. This kid has got moxie. He is something to watch. They beat Virginia Tech in overtime, upset Virginia Tech in overtime yesterday here in Nashville. And I am so proud of my Commodores. Anchor down. Go Doors. All right. So if you don't know, if you follow along on Twitter, you might have seen a tweet this morning about a new sponsor we hear at Fanatical Elves Network called Hemisphere Coffee. I know a little bit about coffee. My wife and I owned a coffee shop for 5 years. I'm a self-taught barista. Taught myself through YouTube videos, and I became the best barista at our coffee shop. Our roaster, who we still buy coffee from, I still buy 5-pound bags of coffee beans. I have a professional coffee grinder in my kitchen. That's how intense I am about our coffee. It's our proprietary brand. It's called Flat Rock Buzz. Our coffee shop was called Flat Rock Coffee, Tea, and More. The more was we sold beer and wine. We were the first coffee shop in Nashville to sell beer. And I'm a coffee snob, I admit it. But I was looking at the website of Hemisphere Coffee, and first thing I noticed is free shipping for orders with 3 or more bags or a 5-pound bag of coffee. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Just looking at they got fall flavors, pumpkin spice, fall harvest, toasted southern pecan. I might be interested in trying that. Looks like they have a Nicaragua, a Dominican Republic, a Myanmar. Different flavors. I mean, here's one, jungle nut, toasted blend of hazelnut, chestnut, almond, and coconut with creamy caramel. That doesn't sound too bad, man. That sounds pretty good. Blueberry cobbler, toasted southern pecan. The thing is with coffee and coffee beans is it's all about the soil. It's all about the temperature, the air. It's kind of like wine. Coffee beans are exactly like grapes for wine. It depends on the environment and how the beans are dried. Amazingly, in South America, Central America, the beans are dried dry. And in Africa, which I've tasted a few coffees from there, because our roaster, nothing but free trade beans, all organic, and they're done wet. The Myanmar one sounds interesting because I have tried a coffee bean from Timor, which is exceptional. I got a 5-pound bag in my kitchen cabinet, which once I get rid of this, once I go through our house blend that we used to sell, I'll go into that. It's wonderful. It's got little chocolate notes. I wonder if that Myanmar one also has chocolate notes. I found that the Asian coffees have just a little bit of chocolate. So go to their website, Hemisphere Coffee, order you some coffee, give it a try. They have sampler packs. We're going to give away a sampler pack of, I believe, their house blend before Thursday's show. Just follow along, subscribe, follow. You know what to do. Listen and watch. So this has been the last Dog Pound South podcast, Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast on a Sunday. Next week, I will definitely be doing a pregame show. I'm probably not going to go to the Brownsbacker bar because of circumstances. It's a late game. And the venue they use, Nashville Palace, which is a wonderful venue. They have a concert in the main area where the game usually is shown. So they'll put the Brownsbackers in the front part of the building. Not a lot of space. They're going to wait and do their tailgate on week 2, the noon game for the Jags. So if you're coming to Nashville, week 2, come visit the Middle Tennessee Brownsbackers. They put on a heck of a spread for their tailgate. Something I started as when I was president of Middle Tennessee Brownsbackers, lighting up grills, cooking hot dogs, hamburgers, sides, the whole routine. Ernie Nagy and Janet Nagy and the Nagy family do a great job. Ernie has exceptional skills as a barbecuer. Let me tell you, his barbecue is fantastic. So Thank you for watching. This has been the Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. Again, thank you for subscribing, following, listening, and watching. And like I say every week, we're just fans like you. So everybody, enjoy your week. Go Browns. Game 1 a week from today. Oh, I can't wait.